I was sitting behind the wheel of my car, engaged in a long, nocturnal journey along a desolate highway. The rain poured relentlessly against the windshield, making visibility difficult. The droplets created a rhythmic patter that blended with the hum of the tires on the wet asphalt. I felt exhausted, but I had to reach my destination before dawn. It was a highway I had traveled many times before, but that night, it felt different. The atmosphere was charged with a heavy, almost tangible energy. Every now and then, I nervously glanced at the rearview mirror, expecting to see something unsettling reflected in the darkness. As I drove along the highway, I noticed a sign indicating a detour. It was a secondary road I had never taken before, but the sign suggested it was a shorter alternative that would get me to my destination faster. I decided to take it, hoping to save some time. As soon as I turned onto the secondary road, the atmosphere seemed to change immediately. The rain intensified, turning into a full-blown downpour. The lighting was dim, and the only reference points were the faint reflectors placed along the road. As I drove through that storm, I saw a barely visible figure on the emergency lane. It was a person, apparently stranded, with the hood of their jacket pulled over their head. I felt an impulse to help and decided to pull over. As I approached, my heart clenched. The person seemed injured, with traces of blood on their face. I called for help, but I noticed they had no phone or distress signal with them. It was strange, but I was too worried to dwell on it. I told them to get in the car, that I would take them to the nearest service station. As soon as the person got in, my nervousness escalated. They had a fixed, unsettling gaze. They asked if I could turn on the radio, and I obliged, hoping it would distract both of us from the strange situation. The voice that came through the speakers was distorted and irregular, almost demonic. It came from a radio station I didn't recognize, with eerie music that sent shivers down my spine. I decided to turn it off, but when I pressed the button, the radio continued to play, louder and more dissonant. I was terrified. I couldn't explain what was happening. I accelerated, hoping to reach the service station as quickly as possible, but the road seemed to stretch endlessly. I felt trapped in a never-ending nightmare. Then, the person next to me slowly turned toward me, their eyes burning with an evil fire. Their mouth contorted into a perverse smile, and a sinister laughter echoed in the cabin. It was horrifying. In a panic, I pressed the accelerator pedal to the floor, hoping to escape from that living nightmare. Finally, the service station appeared before me. The hope of safety gave me a final surge of energy, and I jumped out of the car. I rushed toward the building, seeking help. But as I entered, the staff seemed not to notice me, as if I were invisible. The voices were distorted, coming from another dimension. I felt trapped in a labyrinth of terror, with no way out. As I wandered in despair, I heard the voice of my passenger reaching me. They warned me that my escape was futile, that I would remain trapped in that dark place forever. Their words intertwined with the sinister laughter that filled the air. I collapsed onto the floor, my mind consumed by madness. Everything seemed blurred, confused, distorted. That highway, that detour, the pouring rain, everything felt like an endless nightmare. I no longer knew what was real and what wasn't. When I finally regained consciousness, I found myself still at the service station. Everything seemed normal. The rain had ceased, and the sunlight peeked over the horizon. I looked around, searching for signs of what had happened, but found nothing. My nocturnal journey on the highway had been a terrifying test of the fragility of reality and the power of terror that can creep into our lives. To this day, I wonder if what I experienced was just a nightmare or something more sinister. But one thing is certain, I will never forget that hellish night on the highway. If you enjoyed this chilling tale, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more spine-tingling stories.